Give us 2 days, Mr. Turner. You'll get second row center at the White House press conference. Now, from what I know of your career, that's a promotion.
I want exclusivity.
Now, listen, young lady. This is a presidential favor. I'm letting you go because I don't want another headache. And I'm trusting you because I know what this can do for your career. It might seem that we have each other over the same barrel, Miss Lerner, but it just seems that way.
I'll show you a thing or two.
Snare. I need my snare. All right. It says we're recording.
I can hear you in my headphones.
I can see. Where's my snare? I can see the little recording red. So I think we are live and not live.
From Saturday Night Live.
From Saturday Night Live is not live from wherever you are sitting right now.
Hello, everybody. I'm Nikki Haley.
Yep, I probably should have said that the first time.
Hi, everybody. This is Tangential Giants. We today, what did I do wrong?
Already.
I've been receiving texts from Nikki Haley because someone put my name on a thing for like political text. When he said Nikki Haley, my brain went like, I went to, I had a flashback.
Working. He's got the Pavlovian response. Starts drooling when he hears Nikki Haley.
Yes, it's
working.
working.
I just finished a cheese stick, so yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just like Nikki Haley did.
Wait, do those cheese sticks come from Nikki Haley? Were those like a gift?
I don't know.
Are those branded?
There's some Ralphs.
Okay.
Yeah, the Nikki Haley of grocery stores.
Yeah,
everyone knows that. We're talking Armageddon versus Deep Impact.
We're talking Nikki Haley.
Well, we're supposed to be talking about Armageddon versus Deep Impact. Battle of the meteor movies that both came out in the year of 1998. A bad year full of
neither
terror.
one of them used the word meteor.
No, why would they? It was all asteroid.
Asteroid comet.
Yeah,
Comet.
Comet was Deep Impact.
Come on, Deep Impact.
I don't even know what's the difference.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, because I watched a little because I've never seen Deep Impact, but I can I will besmirch that movie as much as I can tonight.
Vigorously.
Yeah, but I was just like I saw a little thing okay, I'm like, wait, so it's a comet, but
let's find out what the difference is, shall we?
Yeah. Webster's Dictionary defines a comet as
well, it's a cleaning product. While Kareem is looking that up, let's explain the rules of this exciting movie fight. Not copywritten, not that movie fight. This is different. Ken will be taking the side of Armageddon, and Kareem will be taking the side of Deep Impact, and they're going to pitch the movies. I'm going to give them a series of questions, and then as the judge, jury, and executioner, I will render my verdict.
Okay. With that on the board, an asteroid or asteroids are made up of metal and rocky material, while comets are made up of ice, dust, and rocky material. So no metals, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Which does play into both of their expeditions on said landmass or whatever. Because there's a big thing about Armageddon and you landed us on a metal plate.
It's an iron ferrite plate. This entire
yeah. And in Deep Impact, they were like, oh, we pretty much got to our depth, no problem.
All right,
it's just ice. Danny's out there just with a blow dryer, just like
exactly.
Go, hotter.
It's solar powered, so they're like, it's fine. We don't have to worry about electricity. It's fine.
We hope you guys learned something today.
Do your job.
Wouldn't a comet also? I mean, I guess it depends on the size, but wouldn't a lot of that, because it's ice, you would have more break off from in the atmosphere. Like usually you hear so much would burn in the atmosphere because it's just coming through at such heat. Wouldn't that melt the comet? Wouldn't we be like, okay, never mind.
I mean, ice I was gonna say if it's space ice, we don't know the exact temperature of which it melts. Plus, you're taking something that's roughly 7.5, 8 miles long, and then hoping that it burns up in the atmosphere, all of it.
I mean, we are doing a great job at melting the polar ice caps. So I think the moment it gets to us here, it might just be like, oh, you know what? Never mind. It helped out a little bit. Thanks.
In 1997 or 6 when this movie came out, 8.
Oh,
to Deep Impact.
98 is Armageddon.
Well, I think they're both actually the same year.
Okay.
So, and when it comes out, the atmosphere might have, kept it together because we weren't as hot. 2023, that thing, yeah, it may just come in and we were like, oh, 7 miles. Come back to us when it's like 45
Hey, man,
bigger.
Maybe when it's
We
the size of
weren't mining-
Texas, then it'll be a threat.
Yeah.
We weren't mining crypto in 1998, guys. We didn't have generating that type of heat.
We were too busy trying to repair the damn ozone, idiots.
Yes,
Dummies.
stupid. No NFTs in sight.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly.
All right.
We hadn't learned about the Hummer yet.
Yeah,
True.
life was sad then. Not full of excitement.
I used the other word, the other S word, simpler. Life was simpler.
Simpler? No, it got
Fair
simpler with the Hummer. You got a problem, you run it over. You got something to do, you run it over. Need to get somewhere, you run it over. That's it. Solution to every problem. It's your hammer, everything's a nail.
Fair. You have it. You have a point.
All right. So, since I'm making up rules on the fly as a judge, the way I think we should do this is I will give each of you 90 seconds to give a recap of your film. Because let's be honest, the fun is not recapping the movie. The fun is you guys attacking each other's movies and then pointing out things that don't make sense. Does that seem fair?
I mean,
seems
I
fair.
didn't come prepared for that, but sure, because I can only bolster myself. I have very little slings and arrows to throw at Deep Impact because it's such a forgettable movie. I didn't even watch it. Like,
Oh!
I mean,
Out of the gate. All right. We got sucker punching going on here.
Well.
wait. So we have young girls that are fighting ninja mechas and like
Yeah,
two bombers.
exactly. But no
Okay.
rape. No rape. It's all in their head.
Oscar Isaacs isn't
bad.
doing anything bad here, folks.
Yeah, this is before the world liked him.
She wanted that lobotomy. I don't see the problem,
Oof.
guys.
You're right, Pat. You're right.
She did. John Hamm told me. He wouldn't lie.
Before the world loved him too. Man, these guys really skated on that one timing.
No, I feel like I think like that was it during Mad Men.
No, I mean it may have been. It wasn't
Maybe-
before the Hamasons.
No. But it was like the beginning. It was
Maybe,
like
yeah.
he's like nominated for an Emmy.
Or he was about to be.
Yeah. All right. Neither here nor there. Stop stalling, you guys. I see what's happening here. All right. I don't have anything to determine who goes first, so we're gonna go. Ken, you're up.
All right. So, I mean, we're talking about Armageddon here, something that's just a blockbuster film, not something that should have just been a miniseries on ABC. And given the time to tell the three different stories that they wanted. That's what they wanted to do. They didn't want a blockbuster film. They should have just been like, hey, we're going to tell the story of both the astronauts, of the people on Earth and how they're going to deal with it, about a young boy who finds an asteroid and doesn't belittle his wife. That's the movie that they wanted to tell. Mine has just nationalism and just American excellence at its most excellent ever. Fantastic. Go America. Rah, rah, sis, boom, bob, men. The year's 1998, and we were just like, this is Clinton's in office, and we're just phenomenal here. That's the entire premise of this movie. It's just, aren't we cool? Don't good old boys get stuff done that these pansy NASA boys can't do on their own? You got to send up real core drillers up there. You can't send up a bunch of astronauts who've trained for this their entire life. Why would you? You just grab some boys off an oil rig and throw them in space.
He's got
You
a
have
point.
28 seconds left if you'd like to.
I would say the defense rests, but I mean,
All right.
I rest my case.
Yeah, I rest my case.
Interesting tact on the opening argument. I will say tip one out to Toby Keith.
Oh God,
No.
just no.
We're not doing that.
No.
No.
I could like
Alright.
to take some back for somebody else.
All right. Kareem, 90 seconds for Deep Impact. Starting. All right. I'm going to wait till it hits 5.
You do that.
Now.
So as Ken said, this is 1998, or late 90s, and Deep Impact dared to ask questions, something the other movie doesn't do at all. Ask the question of what would the world be like with a black president? What would the world be like if an actual meteor does hit the Earth? What does it look like when that happens? Because you don't get that a lot in the other movie. And it also asks, can we use the title accurately? Because the other movie doesn't do that either. So, I mean, we're sitting here watching as Ken said, 3 stories, 3 very developed stories kind of evolved, where we have a daughter kind of getting back with her dad, rekindling a relationship with her parents who were going through a divorce. We also have the story of Elijah Wood, and I forget the name of the actual actress or whatnot, but a budding young romance in the midst of the end of the world. And then we get the astronaut movie. I say that they weave a story throughout all of these, underlying the end of the world as the emphasis, and they take painstaking detail in order to do it. Maybe so much so that it kind of hurt the movie as far as marketing was concerned. There were no big soundtracks. There was no explosive detail. The CGI was questionable. Yeah, they didn't have that. But what they did have was science on their side and the questions of what if, the kind of things that help us explore the world. And I believe that they were a precursor to our lust for disaster porn.
And that's time. All right. Would either of you like to before we go into our list of hard-hitting questions, would either of you like to rebut something the other one has said so far?
I could open that up at least and give him time to think. Doesn't show the impact of what that would actually look like. I'm sorry, because the American excellence protected America. We do see touchdowns in both, I believe, France as well as in China and all these other underdeveloped countries that don't have the ability to see these asteroids. They get like, you see like cities decimated. I rewatching it, I'm just like, this is bonkers. I didn't even think of like the amount of lives lost in other countries, but it was just like, oh, America's protected. Like Kareem brought up the point in another conversation of like, he's like, oh, we won't have touchdown until, we won't have to worry about anything else. And then like it hits down in China, and he's like, no, I mean us, like we, Mr. President, don't have to worry about anything else. The rest of the planet, sure, fine, they're done, but it's not going to affect us because it's not a global killer, not an extinction level event. It's not a global killer. So it just, it's like the size of basketballs or Volkswagens. Those are roughly the same size, and that's what hit those other places. That's fine. We're fine here in America because American excellence. I am befuddled by how much this movie's just like, it is just that. It's just like, oh, the manifest destiny of America. Like, I like the movie, and I now hate it from watching it again. I'm like, oh God, what was I like? There's still performances I love. But my main point I should stick to was we do see the fate of actual impacts on the planet during my film as well.
Okay. My rebuttal, it wasn't necessarily yet to what Ken was saying, more so in relation to the titles of the movie and what they actually signify. Because I think I mentioned to Ken in a separate chat, I even give him the timestamp. I think you have it too in the OneNote of when we actually have deep impact. You know what we don't ever have in your movie, Armageddon? In Armageddon.
I believe I hear that there's a moment where the president says, "This is an Armageddon. Something of something, something." The president
where he uses the biblical term Armageddon to signify the holy war that God's going to rain upon all of the that doesn't apply in this movie at all. Whatsoever.
I think it's all a matter of
not even close.
It's our American president. What are you saying? Like, why would you question him?
I'm going to say our American president, who is probably Judeo-Christian of some sort, was entirely wrong, and that whoever named this movie was entirely wrong. Could have called it anything else. Could have called it Global Killer. Just say it.
It is a valid point. There is no Armageddon in Armageddon.
He says the name of the movie, so I think he won the movie. I don't know what. It's not like, that's the purpose of it.
Fair. If he says the name of the movie, that does score points.
When did we actually say like, oh, he really did die hard? Like that's we didn't get that in Die Hard or Die Hard 2, Die Hard.
Move this man. Well, he doesn't actually ever die in that. I'm not saying these are valid titles for the movie. They've just become colloquial in reference. I'm saying they called it Armageddon. No Armageddon.
Yeah, because my guys are heroes and they averted it. Okay, they didn't just sit back and let things hit America.
They don't call it Armageddon.
First ones. People name things. I don't know what you want from me.
Do you think maybe the original title was Armageddon in parentheses, but not America?
I mean, that's what they sold it as overseas. That's what.
Oh, they're Armageddon. Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm just it'd be like calling the movie 2012 and then having it take place in 1978.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. No reference to 2012.
It's all sub-contextual. That you gotta.
And even like I said, even the title is wrong itself. That's what we're gonna get a lot to what Michael Bay does wrong, and I want to say at this point, he's flagrant in doing and wanting to do wrong. I think I mentioned to Ken.
Flagrant.
Yeah,
flagrant.
I don't think I have to fight you on that, but I also don't think that that's necessarily going to be a downfall. Like they're like, oh,
I think it's to the detriment of this movie. That's all.
I think that it's built on broken glass for a reason. That's what that's what he is. He's like those are the plans. If you look at the blueprints, it's just broken glass and shattered dreams. Like that's the
okay.
It's like, we want to build that, and we built it. Did you want to put any like substance in there? No substance. It's just like the booby booms.
Prepping to screw over Megan Fox. All right. So with that said, you both had a chance to do a full rebuttal on some points. Why don't we get to the questions?
All right.
I reserve the right to go off script on these questions at any time.
I expect you to.
Please, both of you, please feel free to interrupt anyone talking at any point. That's half the fun. Who is your movie's MVP? Kareem, you're up.
Movie's MVP. We're saying this in relation to my opinion of the movie, or just as the movie is viewing as the movie presents.
However you would like to argue that point, you take that as you will.
Okay, that is a good one. I'm gonna have to say my movie MVP has got to be. I mean, it's Tia Leone, even though. I mean, because we focus the most on her. Let's just put it that way. She also kind of ties at least two of the stories together. I don't think she ever runs into Elijah Wood whatsoever. So they kind of leave that Crash-esque kind of thing. We're like, oh, all the stories are interconnected. That is left off of the plot map. But she does tie in the Morgan Freeman presidency thing of it all. She does tie in the investigative aspect of the movie, which kind of researches and uncovers the extinction level event. And then we get a.
You mean Ellie?
Exactly.
Ellie.
Yes,
it's just
fair enough. But yeah, and she's also someone that you care for in the movie because you get to like kind of watch. Like I said, you see her dealing with her parents' divorce. Although I think I mentioned to Ken that it was sort of childish. I mean, she's got to be, I don't know, mid-30s at this point. And she's taking it very childishly that her parents have gotten a divorce and that her dad is remarried or whatnot. So I do take a point away from that. But we do get this story of her kind of making sure that her mom's okay now that her mom's older and alone. Trying to deal with her dad, who has a younger wife about the same age as her, and trying to advance her career, all within the context of this comet about to hit the Earth. So she's our MVP, my MVP. I also think she's just the '90s MVP. She was as I had mentioned in I think when we started talking about Bad Boys or whatnot back in the day. This was another time this is the first time she'd worked with Michael Bay, but she'd kind of been the hot-ish girl for the 90s.
So you've got Bad Boys and Deep Impact. And
for 90s movies with her in it?
You're saying
I'll have to look up another one.
I'm going to need like 10 movies. I'm going to need
Well, I mean, I'll let Ken go as I look up the next one now. But go ahead.
All right, Ken, your movie's MVP.
I mean, okay. Well, I was actually just going for the rebuttal on this one of like.
Oh, okay. We have a rebuttal first, by all means.
The girl who just kind of at the end of the movie just kind of like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit here on the beach. It's fine. I could try and do so. I could go into a shelter and save. No, I'm just gonna stand on the beach with my dad.
Hold on a second. Your rebuttal meets rebuttal. She had a ticket to go on the Ark or whatever they were calling that thing to save herself and her family. She chose to give it to the mom who she'd been working with in the office, where her and her daughter at the last minute were going to stay in the office because they had nowhere to go and they were going to get wiped out. She gave her that ticket, realizing that not only is she saving a child's life, she's saving a mother's life, she's saving a family. and she was resigned to the fact that, hey, we're going to have deep impact, and I might as well just embrace it. Have the last moments with my dad, and the only family I have left.
It sounds like a very different type of movie.
You know, and I have rebuttal to that.
Go ahead.
My rebuttal to that
by all
is
means.
Maybe I should have watched the movie then. It's as opposed to just getting cliff notes here and there from what I saw. So fair enough.
All right, Ken, give me your movie's MVP.
My MVP is, but and I don't mean to. I did want to stick with this real quick. I would say that this is probably Apex Mountain for Tay Leone, because Bad Boys is right there, and then like Deep Impact, and then from there it's like an X-Files one-off. She's in Jurassic Park 3 as like a second, third, fourth billing. This is probably the peak of her career, because then you have like the Naked Truth TV show, which had a run, but like this is probably peak Tay Leone if I had to say.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But not the peak for my MVP is all go, no stop, big man Harry Stamper. He is the title card player here. He is first on the call sheet. He's there from the beginning. Well, I shouldn't say that, because in the very beginning, we do have our voiceover by one Michael Douglas. Or no, I'm sorry, not Michael Douglas. I'm mixing them up. Dang it. Charlton Heston does our intro. So I'm getting mixed up here. But Harry is
pry this comet away from my cold dead hands.
But like
I also hate the blacks. Damn it, Charlton.
Don't tell me what to do, damn it.
You know I'm right.
So yeah, it's Harry. I mean, because the crux of the movie is all built around him, because he's we asked around in the 18 days we have, he's the best guy to go with. Everyone keeps saying go to Harry. So he's the MVP. He's the one who, and again, the movie is all pushed on the idea it's so male and so just it's all about Harry being a man and AJ's his son. And at one point there's also a deleted scene where Harry goes back to see his dad who's still alive, and it is just so soaked in male sweat and grease of this movie. It's ridiculous. But yeah, Harry's the MVP. I think that there is definitely some other good points that are some good performances by other actors, but it is all over the top and just bayed up to the top of just 9, 10, 11. Harry, Bruce Willis, he's my MVP. He's the most valuable player on this cast.
Any rebuttal, Kareem?
Yeah, Harry is an attempted murderer within the first 9 minutes of the movie, so fuck Harry.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. He is an attempted murderer. I don't think that dislodges him from being the most valuable player in the movie.
Not like Michael Bay universe.
Yeah, like it's not Michael Bay universe.
Okay, just saying that Harry's not the stand-up guy that I think Ken's making him out to be fully.
Oh no! He's not a stand-up guy. He is the most valuable player on my team, and that's what the statement is. Okay. I'm not. He's not the most reliable. He's not the. He's not. The smart.
I was giving Ken a breakdown as I watched the movie that I would argue that you could say Billy Bob Thornton is your most valuable player in this movie.
Depending on who you're asking, they could say he should have been fired from day one. So I think there's others out there who might disagree with saying that Billy Bob is that valuable. I think across the board.
And there's a contingent that would say that Ben Affleck gives the emotional weight to this movie that Bruce Willis doesn't.
I think that
Bruce Willis is a soundboard. He is a bunch of one-liners wrapped up in a crop blonde haircut.
Yeah, but I mean, if without him, he doesn't manhandle Sharp to be like, hey, I gotta dig my hole and I gotta plant my nuke. Like he's the one who's choking out Sharp when he pulls a gun on him in space. Like,
but I feel like AJ could have done that though.
AJ wasn't even there yet. AJ was off just
but
driving around on the asteroid.
The character that, or at least those character traits of Harry are within AJ. I mean, I believe Harry's best friend says that he's looking at a younger Harry. So I'm like, you could have just wrapped it all into one character.
I actually, sorry, continue. Go ahead.
You're free to jump in.
I do have a Bruce Willis question. Was Armageddon filmed at the same time as Fifth Element? Because he's not blonde in anything else. It's just those two.
Let's find out.
That's a fair question. Let's find out.
Let's educate the audience.
I think came out the year before.
It could have been. Let's see. So we said 1988, and then Fifth Element.
97 for Fifth Element. So I'm guessing they were filmed around the same time.
So he just had the leftover blonde hair.
Yeah, I mean, it does. If you've watched the movie, his roots in this movie. I mean, his hair is darker, so the blonde dye is definitely
the blonde is growing out. Yeah,
yeah. So maybe you're right, Pat. And because his hair was so short to begin with, he didn't want to keep shaving and losing. He was just like, I'm just going to let it
dye it back. He's like, why bother? He's like, no, because Harry's always on, out on a rig, so he's always getting his hair bleached by the sun. So, yeah,
that's the reasoning. That's what it is.
That's the reasoning.
It all works. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Exactly.
yeah, that's the ticket. Yeah.
But again, to Ken's point, I feel like the character traits of Harry could have been played by AJ and done better. And I mean, for Michael Bay's point, easier to direct. You just keep telling him to shut up.
I mean, and also too, I mean, I'm looking at the IMDb. After Fifth Element, he is also busy recording Bruno the Kid, the TV series, so he didn't have to worry about dyeing his hair there. He did Broadway Brawler, which I'm guessing is just a hockey movie. I don't know what that is. Mercury Rising, which I'm aware of that it exists, and The Jackal.
He was blonde in The Jackal, wasn't he?
Was he? So this was his blonde hair. This was like, people are getting their tips frosted, and he's like, no, I'm getting in on this.
He has a bunch of different hair in The Jackal. Yeah,
well, that's right. Yeah, you're right. He does.
This makes sense. All right. Yeah. Thank you for solving that. All right. Good.
So,
good points by all. I do like that.
I think. Go ahead.
No, just on the one note, the picture chosen for each movie is the MVP. So that's good.
Yeah. We can get that out of the bat,
All right. So, next question. We know who
they're both blonde, by the way. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, they definitely hooked up. Next question. We know who the MVPs are. Who's the sassiest character in your movie? Kareem? Ken went first last time. Or no, who went first last time? Kareem went first last time. Ken
went first last time. It's on for me. Because it's such a large ensemble. It's a little harder because there's some are given more sassy moments than others. I'm probably gonna have to say Rockhound, because he is just like constantly being so quippy and sassy and just like, oh, you want to compare brain pans? I won the Westinghouse prize at 11, and he's just like, he's throwing stuff out there. He's just giving the sass. That's what Rockhound is doing, and that's exactly what you're expecting from my brain is drawing a complete blank on his name, Steve Buscemi. And so the sassiest, like the peak sassiness, is going to be Rockhound.
Party. Why don't you spread the wealth, pal? Here, why don't you go buy yourself a neck? Hey, Mr. Clean.
Yeah, we're all astronauts.
You are so messing with national security right now, man. You are fired tomorrow morning. I'm telling you. I'll get the CIA, the FBI. You'll be working security at Toys R Us.
Oh, baby, no, don't leave, baby. No, you see, I'm going into space and I'm not coming back.
There's also good moments by AJ. He's got some stuff to throw back. So does Liv Tyler, but not as much as like all he is there is for comedic, like tete-a-tete is going to be Rockhound. He's the sassiest, and I don't think I have to. Yeah, the defense rest.
Defense rest. Kareem, sassiest.
Mine's is a toss-up actually between Tia Leone and very catty Morgan Freeman. I had mentioned that we needed a president more like Morgan Freeman and less like Barack Obama, because he is with the quips, and he also has this like very controlled, I don't know, chiller effect when he first meets Tia Leone. Like they have this conversation where he's asking her to basically, she figured it out. He has the Secret Service kidnap her and brings her to this like underground kitchen or whatever, and starts discussing with her the importance of her like keeping her mouth shut. And Tia Leone goes on about, why would I do that? I'm a reporter. She has this,
I want exclusivity.
Now listen, young lady. This is a presidential favor. I'm letting you go because I don't want another headache. And I'm trusting you because I know what this can do for your career. It might seem that we have each other over the same barrel, Miss Lerner, but it just seems that way.
I want the...
Want?
May I? May I have the first question?
We'll see you Tuesday, Miss Lerner.
Mini diatribe about that. And then he, with kind of a smirk on his face, gives her the line that, like, you know, you may think we have each other over a barrel. Like, you know, I don't want to like expose some aspects about your life and ruin it. And you don't want to, you know, I don't want you to do this about, you know, the news we're about to go through because we've been planning this for a long time. But it only seems like we have each other over a barrel. And he says that and stares at her, and she gets it. In that moment, as a viewer, you get that, like, you're still talking to the goddamn president. And he says it, he delivers that line with that kind of oomph behind it without actually having to say it. And I was like, man, and he does that throughout the rest of this movie. Like, he has that back and forth with her. So I'm actually leaning, as I say this, to Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman is the sassiest person in this movie.
Okay. By virtue of not threatening, but threatening to murder someone.
Right. And he just has, like I said, he has quips back and forth with her and other people in his staff and stuff like that.
Right,
now I just want to drop in from future editor Kareem. Just drop in the part from Dark Knight, however, or Dark Knight Rises, where he's like, so your best idea is to blackmail the man you think is Batman. Good luck. Like, that's,
yes.
I want that Morgan Freeman sass.
Like that too. It is the sassy Morgan Freeman that you get in that as well.
I want $10 million a year for the rest of my life.
Let me get this straight. You think that your client, one of the wealthiest, most powerful men in the world, is secretly a vigilante who spends his nights beating criminals to a pulp with his bare hands? And your plan is to blackmail this person? Good luck.
Keep that.
Yeah, it's nothing from the same movie, but I'm like, I appreciate a sassy Morgan Freeman, so
yes.
I'll back that. I'll back that ticket. I still think I'm sassy. Mine's sassier, but fair enough.
I mean, yeah, yours is comedic.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of someone who
yours has gravitas with sassiness.
Well, I was also trying to, I guess in my definition, I was trying to think of someone who gives back as much as they get in this movie, and that to me that would have been Ben Affleck. Like,
yeah, it's more balanced with Ben, but as far as
just,
like the constant sass is Steve Buscemi, so the sassiest.
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi has that comic relief aspect to him, where Morgan Freeman's sassiness is, I'm going to kill you.
He is damn good in it. I didn't realize how much screen time he gets in this movie. It was like, I wonder if they were thinking like, hey, you know what? We're going to let everyone have, we would say equal dialogue, but like we're going to give them a rough amount of dialogue. And then they realized, you know what? We like Steve Buscemi, so let's just kill off Owen Wilson. We'll cut his lines and we'll get rid of his ass.
They're doing that thing of, we're jumping around topics here, but like they have a sizable cast just so they can keep cutting them down and whittling them down so that, oh no, Sam lifted off in his armadillo. So what are we going to do? We can't do it anymore.
And this is to my point AJ. About Michael Bay being, I think I mentioned to Ken about this. Michael Bay's, I didn't realize how lazy he was until I've gone back and started rewatching his stuff, but he's letting the star power of these actors be the reason why we're supposed to care for them rather than writing a story about him. Because again, you see Owen Wilson, you're like, okay, I want to see Owen Wilson because I like Owen Wilson. See, I kind of want him to make it to the end of the movie because I just want to see what he's going to do.
Ciao.
And he gets killed off, and you're like, well, I didn't really know or care about his. I knew that his character rode a horse, and that was about it. And then they killed him off.
He had holes in his face.
Was I supposed to care about that?
Scariest environment possible. Okay, that's all you had to say. Scariest environment possible. Okay, got it.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I guess that's what we're going for versus writing a compelling story like you did with at least with AJ.
I don't even think. I mean, I think AJ barely got. I mean, he got a story, but it's just
he got more than anybody else.
He got more than anybody else.
Other than Steve Buscemi's, comedic character being the statutory rapist. Other than that, like,
yeah,
hilarious.
Yeah,
we get that the black guy doesn't like cops. That's about it. like, oh, you're really stretched on that one there, Michael Bay.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we can. This is. I guess this is. Do we have a topic about this later on? Covering. I talked about the American accents, but like, there's no positive Asian characters in this movie. They're all caricatures.
I would argue there's no positive white characters in this movie either.
I mean,
I listened to you. Most of the people that Harry employs are criminals or deadbeat dads.
Well, it's an oil drilling rig.
Yeah, they
don't have to be criminals.
I don't have to like the characters, okay?
Or statutory rapist or deadbeat. Like there is. I mean, at best, AJ is the most stand-up character that they have on the ship or on the rig.
Yeah,
so far.
Because I mean, okay, I mean, I don't know if we're gonna get this later on too, but like this is also for me one of my favorite times of Ben Affleck, of just like him in Chasing Amy, and just like, oh, I'm just a fun guy having fun times. Like, why wouldn't I do this? Why not? I'm Ben Affleck. It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we're moving on. I'm so started to have derailed us on such a tangent.
No, you are good. That's the whole point. All right, next question. Gonna skip around a little bit. Who would you draft from the other person's movie to improve your film?
You skipped one.
I know. I'm going to come back to it later.
Okay. Fine. Fair enough.
Keep you on your toes.
Going first, since Ken went first last.
That's fine.
I mean, this whole cast is horrible.
How dare you?
Oh my God. Who's gonna come drag my movie down?
I have April O'Neil in my film. Okay, I have the original April O'Neil as like a like 18th on the call sheet character, but she is there and she's April and awesome. So carry on, Mr. Craft Cast.
Well, I'm trying to think of like where I would even fit, because any of his characters into my movie, we didn't need a drilling team. His entire movie was made obsolete by an automatic driller in my movie. So I'm like, where could we stuff one of his characters?
Oh, save that for closing arguments. Save that for closing arguments.
You're going for AI? Oh, look at you. Welcome to the end times with the Terminator over here.
Oh,
Jesus.
no, I'm going.
Thank you, Skynet.
I'm doing what Clinton allowed us to do, what Bush allowed us to do, what every president's allowed us to do, is automate manufacturing. Get that shit out of here.
No love for drilling.
I would. As much as I crapped on Billy Bob Thornton in your movie, I would pull him over to mine. Our NASA director, he needed the lumps that Billy Bob was taking for this movie. Like I had mentioned to Ken in this chat again, that Michael Bay has a serious hard-on for telling science to fuck off.
Yeah,
and
that is the through line for my film.
That is the through line throughout this entire movie, is that Billy Bob Thornton is a cuck to Michael Bay's manly fuck science bravado. Because you watch him through everything that he does in this movie, it's a miscalculation, it's a fail. And to Ken's point, his MVP has to keep cleaning up Billy Bob Thornton's mess, even though he's the guy from NASA. I felt like Billy Bob tried to do all the science stuff, and in a movie that, like my movie, which was more science based, I felt like he could have perhaps flourished. He could have added another dimension. He's the only character, because everyone else, like I said, in Ken's movie sucks. So I'd bring over Billy Bob Thornton, the scientist, in a science movie.
We got one Billy Bob circa Sleeping with Angelina Jolie.
Correct.
Ken, you're up. Who you taking?
Oh, I'm taking his president for mine. Like that's how you step up my film. Like I don't need Tay Leone. We don't care about reporters over here. Well, we're and like I'm not gonna. It doesn't alter my film too much. It as far as like story, it just perks mine up by having a better president. And I definitely take Morgan Freeman as the president to help bring some prestige to my film.
I would also imagine.
Now I wonder if he's ever worked with him.
For Michael Bay, I doubt it.
It's probably too much class.
To a Michael Bay movie, probably not going to help much.
They're going to get misused.
Yeah. Can you walk?
I mean, we've seen Tay Leone work with Michael Bay.
Yeah. I mean, even in the final bits of the film where Watts is trying to get the ship to work and like, oh, I'm gonna go fix this. They just have I don't mean to be say drunken Russian astronaut, but he's like he's just playing it drunken the entire time is the vibe I'm getting. And he's like, you must hit it also, whether it's American or Russian, it's all from Taiwan. And he starts hitting stuff. I don't know why I'm going Schwarzenegger here, but I am. But he's
Austrian, Russian.
Even then, like, it's just like, get out of here, woman who's using your charts and so forth. I'm just going to hit it with a wrench like a man.
Get off this ground! I'm telling you, please move! This is our big problem in the Russian space station because I don't want to stay here anymore. Finally, we can go home.
And
well, that seems to be his MO with anything, though. That apparently Russians just beat shit.
Yeah,
he did it on his ship, and it blew up and just got destroyed. He did it on the little like
Russia. Shit beats you.
Yeah, or that like I don't know truck thing that they had going on when they're trying to get the boosters to work. He just starts hitting stuff.
Yeah,
that is the ongoing joke for Michael Bay's laziness. When in doubt, just beat it out. Is that the phrase, Michael Bay?
Oh no, that's a different question later.
I would also wonder if because I'm aiming for Billy Bob Thornton in this movie, if I can get a second and third round draft pick, I'd pick Michael Curry and Eddie Griffin. Forgot these guys are in the movie. There's definitely no comedy in my movie, not very much. And the 3 minutes that these guys were on screen, they hammed it up.
Oh yeah, hanging with Mr. Cooper, you want my team.
And Eddie Griffin. Those two guys. The sum total of 3 black men in the movie. 4.
No, how dare you?
Keith David.
Yeah, Keith
there's 4.
David. He's amazing.
There's Keith David. There is Michael Clark Duncan, and then Eddie Griffin and what's his name? Mark Cooper.
Mark Curry. Yeah.
Mark Curry.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper. That's who I know him as.
But Keith David, he's awesome. I really need him in my movie, unfortunately.
All right. Well, the draft is very interesting because what it shows is how much more of an ensemble piece Deep Impact is versus like, I grab somebody. Like, if you're not going to grab the driller, it's kind of like, okay, then let me take a background character.
Mm. Well, like I said, to our point earlier, that even the background characters, I will give Ken this. Michael Bay used his budget on casting because he didn't want to write stories to make these people interesting. He was just like, that person. What if
You're already invested because you care about Mr. Cooper. You care about the fact that they cast the guy who played Long Duck Dong as one of the first Asian people you see. Good God.
Working.
Hey, Poon, get down there.
Hey, hola.
Neho.
Hi, Harry. Oh, yeah.
So bad. Like, I'm glad he's getting work, but I'm also like, I don't like, good God, like just this exactly for the wrong reasons. And I'm just like, this is, I don't know. This is 1998, folks. I don't know what to do here anymore.
Simpler times.
Yeah, I guess.
All right. This is could be somewhat loaded question because one movie has a lot more intelligent people than the other film from the description so far, but who is the smartest character in your film?
You go first.
Who is the smartest character? In the context of my film, God, I know who he is and I picture him, but I don't know his name because we don't bother to get names too often. But I can pull it up if go ahead and I'll trade this one to Kareem for a minute while I pull up my reference.
The smartest character in my movie. That is a good question. I would have to say that is tough.
I've got mine. If you need a second, I got mine now.
Yeah. Let Ken go because I'm trying to weed this stuff out.
Mine is Jason Isaacs, Roland Quincy. He is
This is Dr. Ronald Quincy from Research. Pretty much the smartest man on the planet. You might want to listen to him.
General, if you consider your target, composition, dimensions, sheer velocity, you could fire every nuke you've got at her and she'll just smile at you and keep on coming.
He's the scientist that tells the president that, I know your advisor. I went to school with him. He was, he failed his midterm, blah, blah, blah.
I'm the C- somehow at MIT.
Yeah, at MIT, which I mean, still a C- at MIT is probably better than XY, other places. But still, he's like, no, I'm smarter than him because he thinks you just shoot a bunch of rockets at it. That'll work out. Like, no, you need to have the science of a firecracker in a fist, not in the palm of your hand. And he breaks it down at least for the layman's to be like, oh yeah, that does make sense. I remember when my cousin Stumpy used to hold those firecrackers, and now we call him Cousin Stumpy. And so that's why the layman are like, yes, yeah, that guy knows his stuff. He's worked with firecrackers. He's the smartest one in my movie, as far as like if we're talking academics. Otherwise, the smartest person in my movie is Harry Stamper, because he's just he's white guy and he's smart and he's the salt of the earth type. So that's what makes him the best in my movie.
Nothing makes Michael Bay harder.
Pretty much, like that's yeah. Or AJ, because he betted Liv Tyler. I don't know. It depends on whose metrics we're going by.
Hey, it's your metric, man. You're selling it. You're selling it. You tell me who the smartest is.
Jason Isaacs playing Ronald Quincy.
Because of firecrackers. Excellent.
Because of firecrackers.
Kareem, smartest character in your film.
I'm gonna have to go back to Morgan Freeman. He manages to keep his story under wraps for as long as he needed to buy himself time. He manages to, I don't know, deliver all of the bad news in a very understandable way to everybody.
Our missiles have failed. The comets are still headed for Earth, and there's nothing we can do to stop them. So this is it. If the world does go on, it will not go on for everyone.
And he kind of just gets the gravity of the situation at all times. When things are either he's planning or things are about to go out of control, when they, first have the first catastrophe, he kind of handles everything in a very adult way. I would have said, Tia Leone, because she uncovers this, but he had been planning this almost a year and a half in advance before she even stumbled across it. So him and his presidency, so Morgan Freeman at the head, and then the rest of his administration, at least, was able to keep a extinction level event under wraps for almost 2 years.
What are these made up terms you're using? They're called.
Global killer.
and let's also note he had a year or so to plan this. My guys did it in 18 days. Okay, they're like, oh shit, we've missed the sky because we only watched 3% of it, and so it's pretty big sky.
I went to Kim with this immediately, and I was like, what the fuck is Billy Bob doing? How do you get surprised by an asteroid shower?
They only have $1 million worth of money to put towards this,
and
that covers 3% of the sky, and it's a very big sky.
Cover the 3% of New York that got destroyed first. That was the first city that went down. I'm like, how did you miss that? If you're going to protect anything, cover the United States.
And we know for a fact that it's New York because this was one of the things I couldn't do a screen cap of. At one point when things are coming down, of course, there's the multiple taxis and the whole everything else, and we see the two towers that are still standing after the meteor strike. So it just goes to show you that jet fuel burns at 155 degrees. I don't know.
Let's go on a ride, ladies and gentlemen.
We're done. Ted wins. We're done. That's it. Call it there.
But at one point, it hits Grand Central Station, and somebody's wearing an I Heart New York shirt, and he's running towards the camera, and it blows up. And I'm like, why? No one it's the orgy of evidence of you need to make clear that this is New York that it hits. I'm like, we know. Eddie Griffin told me, that Mark Curry told me, everyone told me that this was New York. You didn't need to add a dude in an I Heart New York shirt in the middle of Grand Central Station running towards the screen and blowing up. Ridiculousness. But how did we get here? I don't know where I got
Mr. Bay, that's going to cost us $2,500 just to CGI that in. It's unnecessary.
He's like, I'll do it. Tell you what, I'm going to put a guy in the shirt and light him on fire. Not digital.
I like practical. Yeah, I like
things. If the movie comes out 15 years later, they're definitely playing Empire State of Mind in the scene to start.
Oh yeah,
100%. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You're gonna play it while things are exploding, just in slow motion.
I'm just surprised there wasn't a slow motion scene in a New York minute. And it's everything just smashing around it.
I'm sure that was directed.
That was in one cut of the movie.
That actually might be too subtle for it.
But fair enough.
True.
Fair enough. I gotta say, I appreciate the idea that it is the president. I think that there is maybe you're giving him more weight because you're looking at this at the eyes of that you have now, where like a president doing the bare minimum and being decent, we're mystified by now. We're like, fuck, this is what they can do.
Definitely. There's a
Oh,
point
God.
in his speech where he says, and I pointed this out. I think I told you about it, Pat, or told Ken about this, where he tells everyone, he starts to break down the bad news about what's about to happen, and immediately says, "At this point, I'm freezing prices. There will be no price gouging." And I had mentioned to you, oh, if only we can go back to a time where someone was bold enough to say that, or at least had a movie that dared to question or just say that, like, hey, you know what? We had the pandemic, and that was the first thing that happened was price gouging.
Yeah,
unmitigated price gouging, and now we're suffering said inflation.
Yeah.
Why you hate America so much?
Because I rooted for a black president. That's my problem.
There it is, right there.
See,
my movie has too many questions. If you ask me.
America.